You serve dinner. Your child studies the plate and says, "I don't like it." So the bargaining begins. 3 bites for dessert. 1 bite of chicken. Just smell the broccoli. When nothing works, you cook something else. It feels loving and practical. You are tired, your child needs to eat, and the evening is already long. A familiar meal seems easier than tears. But each time refusal changes dinner, your child learns from the result. The lesson is simple. Strong refusal works. That does not mean your child is calculating or manipulative. It does not mean you failed. It means a pattern formed between 2 people who both want safety. Your child wants control over their body. You want reassurance that they have eaten enough. When those needs collide, dinner becomes a battle. Many French families use a different structure around food. They do not force clean plates, punish caution, or expect young children to love every vegetable. The structure is simpler. 1 family meal, gentle exposure, and enough space for natural appetite to return. 1 shared meal. Repeated contact with unfamiliar foods. Clear pauses between meals and snacks. By the end, you will know how to use this structure without yelling, bargaining, or turning food into a test. First, understand why some loving responses can accidentally make picky eating harder. The first pattern is the backup meal. You serve chicken, rice, and green beans. Your child refuses. You offer toast, then yogurt, then cereal. Each new option keeps the negotiation moving. Finally, you make macaroni and cheese. The original plate has now become only the opening offer. The more firmly your child refuses, the more likely a preferred food appears. Their brain records that outcome. This is not adult manipulation. Children simply learn through repeated patterns and predictable results. A behavior happens, something changes. The brain stores the strategy that produced the change. When repeated refusal changes the menu, refusal becomes a useful strategy for the child. You keep responding because you care. That is exactly why this cycle can be so difficult to break. Both sides are doing something understandable, yet every repetition makes the pattern stronger. The second pattern is pressure. It does not always sound harsh. Often, it sounds loving. Just 1 bite. You liked this last week. Eat your vegetables, then you can have dessert. You may be encouraging courage, but your child may experience the moment as close supervision. Their attention shifts away from hunger, smell, texture, and taste, and toward your reaction. Are you watching? Are you counting? Will you be disappointed? Am I still allowed to say no? Dinner is no longer only about food. It has also become a struggle over autonomy. Autonomy is the feeling that your body and choices still belong to you. Young children have little daily control. Adults choose when they wake, what they wear, when they leave, where they sit, and when bedtime begins. Food is one of the few places where a child can close their mouth and make the final decision. The more pressure they feel, the more important that refusal may become. You push, and they resist. You push more gently. They resist more strongly. Suddenly, 1 green bean carries the weight of the relationship. The third pattern begins before dinner. It is constant grazing throughout the afternoon. Crackers during play, a car snack, a juice box, a granola bar, because dinner is still an hour away. Each one seems small, and sometimes a snack is appropriate, but continuous eating can quietly blunt appetite. Your child reaches dinner barely hungry, then faces a food that already feels unfamiliar or uncertain. When the body is full, there is little biological motivation to explore something new. Crackers were predictable. Juice was easy. Dinner requires more sensory effort and more uncertainty. Parents may call this stubbornness, but the deeper reason often begins with normal caution. Young children are naturally cautious about unfamiliar smells, colors, textures, shapes, and combinations. Adults use experience to assume a new food is probably safe. Children have far less evidence. Their caution can look dramatic, turning away, pushing the plate, or rejecting food they have never tasted. It is frustrating, but unfamiliar food often needs repeated time before it begins to feel ordinary. Your child may not need a stronger lecture. They may simply need more familiarity. And familiarity cannot be forced into existence during one tense dinner. Another process is happening too. When eating feels like a performance, body signals become harder to hear. Your child stops asking, "Am I hungry?" and starts asking how many bites will make them stop. They stop noticing the crunch and start noticing that everyone is watching. That is why pressure can create the opposite result. Eating feels less safe and less voluntary. Then there is appetite. Appropriate hunger is not an emergency. It is a normal body signal. It tells your child that food is worth approaching and makes familiar foods more satisfying. It may also make an unfamiliar food feel slightly more interesting and worth investigating. This does not mean withholding food as punishment or making a young child follow an unsuitable schedule. It does not mean ignoring medical needs, growth concerns, or an individualized professional feeding plan. It simply means giving every eating opportunity a clear beginning and a clear end. A meal happens, then the body rests. A snack comes later, followed by another pause. Over time, your child learns the rhythm. Food is predictable, hunger is manageable, and more food will come. This brings us to the central rule. One family, one meal. The parent does not immediately cook a different entree the moment the child refuses. That may sound strict, but the message is not, you must eat whatever I choose. The message is, I decide what food is available. You decide what your body does with it. The parent creates the structure. The child keeps control of their own body. A useful approach is to separate the parent's responsibilities from the child's responsibilities. The parent decides what food is offered, when it is offered, and where the meal happens. The child decides whether to eat and how much to eat from the foods that are available. This creates a firm boundary without forcing a bite or demanding a clean plate. You do not require love for every food, hold dessert hostage, or become a short-order cook. One family meal does not mean serving a completely unfamiliar plate and expecting your child to cope. A balanced meal can include at least one food your child usually and comfortably accepts. It might be rice, bread, fruit, plain pasta, or another familiar part of the family meal. That familiar food is not a reward and is not prepared after refusal. It is already on the table. That distinction matters. Your child does not have to choose between fear of the food and fear of hunger. Something safe is available from the start. Your anxiety softens, and your child's anxiety can soften too. The unfamiliar food can remain nearby without becoming a threat or a forced assignment. This leads to the first quiet pillar beneath the rule: gentle, repeated exposure. Your child does not need to love green beans tonight. Tonight, they may simply exist on the table. Next time, one may sit on the plate. Later, your child may touch it with a fork. They may smell it, break it open, touch it to their lips, or take one tiny taste. Every interaction makes the food slightly less unknown. But how do you encourage this without pressure? Shift from judgment to curiosity. Instead of asking, "Do you like it?" ask, "What do you notice? Is it crunchy or soft? Warm or cool? Smooth or bumpy? Does it smell sweet, earthy, or mild? Does it make a sound when you bite it?" Now the child is not being asked to approve the food. They are simply investigating it. A curious child can honestly say, "It feels slimy," or "The smell is too strong." They may even make a dramatic face. Your response can remain calm and neutral. "Interesting. It felt slimy to you." That response validates their real sensory experience. You do not need to argue that the food is delicious or persuade them that their reaction is wrong. You are helping them build a vocabulary for food without turning their reaction into a crisis. Your child says, "I don't like those." The old pattern may immediately begin. "You haven't even tried them. Eat one. You liked them before." No dessert until you take 3 bites. The new response is much quieter. You do not have to like them. You can tell me what you notice. Your child touches one, smells it, tastes a speck, and makes a dramatic face. You stay neutral. Was it crunchy or soft? Soft. Thanks for checking. Then you return to your own meal, without celebration, disappointment, or pressure for another bite. The goal was contact, not consumption. That small moment changes what trying a food means. Trying no longer means losing control. It simply means gathering new information. The second quiet pillar is appetite rhythm. One family meal becomes far harder when your child has been eating continuously all afternoon. A predictable rhythm allows hunger to build gradually and reassures the child that food will return. That may mean planned meals and snacks instead of constant access to crackers, juice, and small bites. The exact schedule depends on age, health, routine, development, and individual needs. The principle is not rigid timing. The principle is separation, an eating opportunity, then a pause. That separation makes hunger and fullness signals easier for the child to notice. It also reduces panic when your child eats very little, because another planned opportunity is coming. Your child learns that food will return, but the kitchen will not become a restaurant after every refusal. So what does this look like in practice? First, serve one family meal. When possible, include a protein, a carbohydrate, a fruit or vegetable, and one familiar food. Second, keep your language neutral. Describe the food, answer questions, and invite curiosity. Do not count bites, negotiate, threaten, or turn dessert into payment. Do not make your child responsible for your feelings. Third, let them choose from the table. They may eat rice and chicken, bread and fruit, taste the vegetable, or eat less than you hoped. Your job is not to control the result of one dinner. Your job is to maintain the structure. Fourth, end the meal calmly. Do not chase your child through the house with a spoon. Do not immediately offer cereal or lecture them about how hungry they may feel later. Calmly move on. The next planned eating opportunity arrives according to your family's routine. Fifth, observe patterns over time instead of panicking over one meal. Children do not eat the same amount every day. Appetite and energy needs naturally change. Illness, excitement, fatigue, growth, and development can all affect how much a child eats. One light dinner does not tell the whole story. Look at eating across several days and weeks. When something truly feels concerning, seek appropriate support instead of making the table an emergency. Now return to the opening scene. It is 6:30, dinner is ready, and the green beans are rejected. You feel the old urge to bargain, explain, and fix everything before bedtime hunger appears. But this time, you pause. You do not have to like them. This is what we are having tonight. You may choose what you want from the table. Your child crosses their arms. You continue eating. Later you ask, smooth or bumpy? Your child pokes one with a fork. Bumpy. You agree, and the conversation moves on. Your child eats rice, some chicken, and bread. The green beans remain almost untouched. This is where you may think the method failed. But look at what actually changed. You did not cook a second dinner, force a bite, or use dessert as a weapon. Your child kept control of their body. The food stayed present, and the boundary stayed calm. The green bean became slightly more familiar. It is not dramatic, but it is a new pattern. What if your child eats very little? Step back and examine the larger picture. Was a familiar food available? Had they eaten recently? Are they tired, sick, or simply less hungry today? Hunger will not make every child eat every food. Children remain individuals with different needs. Feeding concerns deserve attention when they are frequent, intense, or begin affecting health. Does your child regularly eat very little, lose weight, struggle with growth, or show signs of pain? Do they cough, choke, avoid whole texture groups, become extremely distressed, or have a medical condition? Speak with a pediatrician or qualified feeding professional. General structure cannot replace individualized care. Extreme picky eating is different from ordinary caution around unfamiliar food. A feeding difficulty may limit nutrition, growth, family life, or normal daily functioning. Some children have sensory, oral motor, swallowing, medical, or intense fear-based challenges. Those children may need a slower, specialized approach designed for their specific needs. Do not force one general method onto every child. Identify the kind of support your child actually needs. What if your child refuses every interaction with the unfamiliar food? Make the steps smaller. Today, the food may simply sit in a serving bowl on the table. Later, your child might help serve it to someone else, or touch it with a utensil. Another day, they may smell it, and eventually take a tiny taste when they feel ready. Progress does not always mean swallowing. Sometimes it means staying at the table without panic. Tolerating the smell or saying, "No thank you," without screaming can also be meaningful progress. The direction matters more than the speed. A new structure may feel uncomfortable at first. Your child may request the old backup meal or refuse more loudly to test the familiar pattern. That does not automatically mean the boundary is harmful. It may simply mean the boundary is new. Stay warm and consistent. I know you wanted macaroni and cheese. It is not on the table tonight. You can choose from what we have. Your child may feel disappointed. You do not need to erase the feeling or change the menu. This is not about becoming cold. It is about becoming clear. When patience fails, repair the moment. I was worried about your eating, and I started pressuring you. That was not helpful. I'm sorry. Your body belongs to you. I will offer food, and you can decide how much to eat. Repair does not weaken authority. It teaches that mistakes can be acknowledged honestly. The boundary remains, but connection remains important too. The goal is not a perfect dinner table. The goal is a predictable one. Food is not a test of love, and disliking something does not make your child the family problem. Concern does not have to become control. One meal, one familiar food, and gentle exposure. Use predictable meals and snacks, no clean plate pressure, and no emergency replacement after refusal. Seek professional support when the concern extends beyond ordinary picky eating. You are not responsible for making every bite enter your child's mouth. You are responsible for the conditions, what is offered, the eating rhythm, and the atmosphere. Then allow appetite, familiarity, and growing skills to do what pressure cannot. The next time dinner is rejected, you may still worry and wonder whether your child ate enough. But there will be no second pot, desperate three-bite bargain, or battle over control. Dinner may still be imperfect, and the green beans may still be rejected. But the meal now teaches something different. Food is predictable, and the table is safe. The parent stays calm, and unfamiliar foods are allowed to become familiar slowly. You are not trying to win dinner tonight. You are building a healthier relationship with food tomorrow.